Hey everybody, it's Jesse again, here with another Patreon-only upload. This one is a fun one because this is the very first thing that Hope did with us when she jumped onto the crew and we merged into becoming Jaguar Sharks. When we split Montressor Media away to becoming more of the film-based stuff and Jaguar Sharks becoming the podcast stuff, Hope jumped on as a new member of the group, and first thing she did was she did a commentary track with me for the wonderful animated movie Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within. If you've seen the TikTok I did on this a little while back, you'll know that this movie is really boring. It's really, really boring and has next to nothing to do with Final Fantasy. I just thought it'd be a fun thing to do because we just prior to doing that commentary track, we also did a Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within film rescue. There was no content for a Patreon on that one. There was just the actual episode. So we decided to do a Patreon only side of that, which was the commentary track. And Hope jumped on. She had a free day, and we decided to just provide a little commentary upon, what we love about Final Fantasy and how the movie ultimately failed. We kind of uplifted a very bland, dull movie, which really only stands the test of time because it was the first film to have realistic-looking CGI characters outside of video games. So I guess that's a win. It got us to where we are now in terms of visual effects. But other than that, there's not much else to say about Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within. The commentary track, it helps to provide a little bit of fun for you because we kind of MST3K'd this one because the movie's really not worth watching outside of having a commentary track because it's incredibly boring. So I hope that you enjoy mine and Hope's first collaboration for Jaguar Sharks, which is our commentary for Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within. Enjoy. Welcome to the Montressor Media commentary track for Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within. I am joined tonight by...
How do you want me to introduce myself?
Just say your name.
I am Hope. Nice to meet you.
Excellent. So we're going to be watching this wonderful gem, and we're going to provide a little commentary on this film for you. Hope that you enjoy. We are beginning the film.
Not just a
Yeah, we're beginning the film at this commentary track at 8 seconds in at the Columbia Pictures logo. Press play at 8 seconds in, starting now. It has been, I think, 15, 20 years since I last saw this. Have you seen this?
This has been since
Square
around the same, quite honestly, because
Square Pictures, the first and last film of Square Pictures.
Because that was back in the day when that was still super hype about even the PS2 Final Fantasy. So they're just trying to do all this new stuff with film and to coincide it and everything. It's just, so everyone was pumped about it then, but no.
Yeah, this came out, I think, I want to say like 3 or 4 months before Final Fantasy X, which was highly anticipated. And so it was kind of like backdoor marketing for them.
See, I was a huge Final Fantasy IX girl. That was my go-to game. A lot of people don't agree with me, but that was my go-to. So obviously I was like, yes.
Yeah. I like 9, but I'd still say that 7 or 8 are one of my favorites.
Of course.
Yeah.
That, as with everyone.
Yep. I will say, from a visual standpoint, this is kind of cool. Except for those dead eyes.
The background, you can tell, had a lot more put into it than the foreground.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's a lot to do with Japanese animation style to begin with. The background's always been stellar.
Yeah. That's a cool shot. I like that. I will say it is an interesting anomaly. This movie, this film cost around, I want to say, with inflation, $175 million. It only made 85 million at the box office. This thing tanked hard when it came out.
What I think is also crazy is back when I first watched this, I'm like 2065. Oh my gosh! And now we're in 2020, and I'm like,
Yeah,
shit, that's close.
yeah, yeah. I think the biggest problem with this film is not necessarily the film itself. It's more just who's the audience for this.
Right, it wasn't towards Final Fantasy people.
No, it's not because it has nothing to do with Final Fantasy.
Exactly. And it's other than Advent Children, I feel like most Final Fantasy films just aren't Final Fantasy.
Yeah. What was the other one? Kingsglaive that came out for Final Fantasy 15 or something like that, or
Yeah, that was just real awkward in and of
yeah,
itself. Again, other than Advent Children, which I was a huge fan of,
yeah,
it's just again, like you said, who's the audience?
yeah. It's not for Final Fantasy fans because this takes place in our world. This is New York City, so it's not like hey, there's Times Square, old New York City. Um, it's like it's not for Final Fantasy fans. It takes place in our world. It doesn't include anything really from the games. It's not for sci-fi fans. It's too simplistic. It's not for action fans. It's too dull. So it feels like a very elongated tech demo showing off the power of the processors for these computers at the time.
And I think maybe also it could have been just they're like you said, they're it's a tech demo like, hey, this is gonna be the type of cutscenes that we're gonna provide in future Final Fantasy games, but we're gonna do 5 different tropes to show you, I guess, the range that we can do with it.
I guess, but at the same time, it's just if you're trying to make a film that's going to show off your visual aesthetic, using this particular color palette is not doing you any favors.
Oh, not at all.
This
It's
is
way
the
too
oh my god,
dark.
look at this shot. It's so gray. It's so ugly.
It's very monotone for sure. You have gray on gray on gray. Like I know it's supposed to be desolate, but you
Yeah.
could have done a day you could have done a day scene to show emphasize light or something, but like this is just legit, like you said, it's gray on gray on gray.
Yeah, and then the other
Even the skull is gray. You could have done some like decay or wear and tear on that. Like
anything would be good. Yeah, it's odd. It looks like it almost like when you put jeans in the wash too many times and they get all muddy and washed out. It's kind of what this looks like. Jeans that have been through the wash too many times.
I was gonna say, it looks like I don't know. I was gonna say, when like you're a child and you get all the spices in your mom's cabinet and you're like, I'm gonna make a concoction, guys. Like, like that's what it's like, because not only are you mixing things that should never fucking go together, but
Yeah, Final Fantasy and sci-fi action. I mean, granted, Final Fantasy VII does take place in sort of a cyberpunk world, but there's still
it's
swords
still
and magic.
fantasy.
Yeah, it's still fantasy. It's still got that. But yeah, just this is just a strange anomaly of a film, which is, and the only person you can really blame is the game's creator, Hironobu Sakaguchi, who created the Final Fantasy franchise. Like he
He
was one of
approved
the
it.
directors on this.
That's what I'm saying. He approved it all.
Yeah, he said yes, and this is what we got.
I mean, there's been a lot of films that have straight away from the original creators. Like, they're like, oh yeah, this could be good. I mean, there's many different things you can say. There's like Robert Kirkman with Walking Dead,
Yeah.
George Lucas in the holiday special. Like,
Mhm.
there's been plenty of times where creators have gone off kilter and been like, okay, yeah, we fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
But it's just so strange to me. The other problem is that like this opening is not a great opening because I have no idea who the hell this is.
yeah, it's very vague, and it's not like there's even too much action to draw you in, especially if you're trying to do, I don't know, what looks like some sort of Minority Report shit going on, maybe.
Yeah, this is
Like, you need some sort of draw action, but so far I'm getting blobs on gray.
yeah. I mean, I like this idea. This sort of gelatin stuff that they dive into. That's kind of cool, but and then now the action starts.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, we're not that far into the movie, so I guess there's some sort of build up, and
Yeah.
considering for, I guess, this technology back then, it is a lot to do, but so I like to watch things with closed captioning on, and literally how we were talking about how it's grayscale on grayscale.
Yeah.
One of the one of the people's names literally was Gray.
Yeah. One of the characters' names is Gray. Like,
Yeah,
could
so
you have been
it's
more?
just funny
Could you have been more
to see
plain?
it like in the closed captioning, gray on the gray tone on gray tone. So it's like getting a gray inception going on.
It does the film no favors.
It is for us too, buddy. One of
Yeah.
those days.
And also the script for this is just kind of it's just kind of bland. It's almost like they were afraid of making a true Final Fantasy film, so they had to compromise. So they end up with this film that's kind of got elements of Final Fantasy 7 and 8, but also tries to be a very standard sci-fi action film, and it ends up appealing to nobody.
I feel like they were trying to reach for some like Gears of War type thing before Gears of War was a thing.
Yeah, this was this.
Honestly.
Yeah, this came out in 2001, so this is what I say,
And
but
that was about 4 or 5 years before Gears of War, but I
yeah.
can see some similarities with like their armor and everything.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So like I feel like
Or
that people
Halo.
try
Halo came out, I
or
think, like 2
Halo,
years.
yeah. That too. Smartest thing anybody could say, higher ground.
Yeah. But it does beg the question: why would you need to get to higher ground? These things can literally phase through the floor. It changes nothing.
I mean, if you get to higher ground, if they've escaped, like if they came out of the ships to come down to the ground, maybe it's the same.
I
I don't know. I'm
guess.
I'm trying I'm trying to defend like my thought process maybe. So
I don't know.
I can't say for them, but oh, so I was correct. There's an escape ship.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they came in through the dropship, so
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So higher ground means easier extraction.
yeah, fair, fair.
And now we got our Wally saving the plant.
Mm-hmm. Wally.
Wow.
Aww.
Eva. Eva.
The other big negative of this movie is this was the early years of realistic human characters. And while there's good stuff in it, the biggest negatives are the very dead eyes and the mouth movement. The mouth movement is always the hardest part of these kinds of CGI characters. Like, look at the lips don't quite match. The jawbones don't quite move right.
The one thing I will give them, like, yes, I will say facial features and hands in any artist perspective, just regular drawing, whatever, have always been the hardest things to do.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So
they're
that's
always
going to
tough.
translate. But
Like,
I will give them this in like close-ups on the fibers of, or like on his armor right there. They're actually very good at doing texturalization
mhm.
on the clothes and the armor. So I will give them that.
Yeah, there's little details that are really good. It's just the things that are really important, like eyes and the lips. That just
Well, that comes with time, I feel. Again, this
yeah.
is very.
This is 2001. This is
So
early
that so
years.
that was when it was released. So I mean, it was probably in the process since like '98, probably.
Yeah,
You
this
know.
this was a stepping stone to get to where we are now. And I just watched a video on the Unreal 5 game engine that's being used for the Mandalorian right now, and it's the the amount of leeway and the amount of options you have now are insane.
Well,
Like,
not only that, for the like since you mentioned Mandalorian, they actually built a brand new filming mechanic
mhm.
for that show. I
Yeah,
mean,
the
Lucasfilm has
volume.
always been the cutting edge of brand new technology for such things. So I mean,
Yeah, the
and they're not exactly swimming in Lucasfilm, so.
it's true. Yeah, the volumetric LED screen, which is now becoming the thing that will replace green screen. It's very impressive. There's lots of videos about this on YouTube. Also, is it just me, or does everybody's skin texture look like they all have jaundice?
I
Especially
think
Aki.
that I also think that's no, you're completely right, but I think it's because again, they're using so many different gray tones that actual white just or
Yeah,
flesh tone just is not popping
yeah,
because everything is covered in gray tone. So, I mean, if even if they're the black dude even looks like he's jaundiced because of the gray tone over it, you know.
yeah. This character that I've known for about 5 minutes. Oh no, he's in danger. uh,
I'm supposed to feel all the emotions right now.
oh no, I'm supposed to feel something for this guy that I've known for about 5 minutes.
Not and the thing is, he was just like a body. They all blended in with each other until about 2 seconds ago when they took off their armor.
Yeah, like
So it's like I have no connection whatsoever other than the doctor then that we're
yeah,
supposed to know everything about.
yeah.
And the horticulturist is now a nanosurgeon. Is that what I'm getting right?
Go with it.
Just saying.
Just go with it. And also, like, the laser goes through the body, but it doesn't kill the human. Like,
The dude, yeah.
I don't get it.
Unless
Whatever.
it uses some sort of like gamma ray or something
Yeah.
that's effective on them, but not.
Also, this weird idea that they're literally looking at his soul right there, his spirit.
Oh yeah,
And
and his soul is reacting, but his body isn't.
yeah, which begs the question: like, if you know that you have a soul, and you know that there is therefore life after death, what's the problem? It just oh yeah, we always stop at one.
Well, yeah, everyone knows that in Galaxy Quest. Yeah, but like you were saying, if there's a soul, I guess maybe if there is a soul, but they just don't know what happens to it after. I guess.
Yeah.
Like if for all they know, they could just, who knows. Still really bugging me how she's like a horticulturist basically and a botany specialist, and she's now a nanosurgeon. That's the only thing that's killing me. I'm sorry, I'm really hung up on that.
No, yeah, it's the what's the term, Mary Sue, where they're perfect at everything.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So those three, I got real Starship Trooper vibes from.
Yeah.
The three of them together.
Yeah, there's definitely some like I said, this is kind of a hodgepodge of every other
Oh
sci-fi
yeah,
movie.
they're just combining tropes out galore.
Yeah, because we don't know what else to do with a Final Fantasy movie. The biggest problem with this, I mean, we're how far into this movie? Like 20 minutes, and I'm just kind of like, what's going on?
What is the main goal?
What is
the actual
what is the
story?
goal? Yeah, what is the goal here? I'm kind of surprised how they got like so many big name actors to play characters in this film. Like right there, Donald Sutherland is playing Sid.
Mm,
Every Final Fantasy has a character named Sid.
obviously,
Yeah,
that's like their main go-to.
yeah. You got Ming Na Wen, you have Alec Baldwin, like all these actors, and I'm just, why'd they say yes to this?
My big guess is it probably was because this is again at the time. You have to think this is 20 years ago. This was pre 9/11 shit right here. So they're probably thinking this is amazing breaking edge technology.
This came out the same year as in 2001, so this wasn't so
That's
9/11 wasn't
insane.
the only disaster of 2001.
Yeah, this was the foreshadowing,
This
right?
is the foreshadowing of the biggest disaster in human history.
I know I wouldn't say history, but
Well,
U.S. history.
U.S. history. And of course, now we have like literally a giant information dump. It's time for this scene. It's like she's saying all these things, but she knows all this stuff. Like explaining the Gaia theory. Like
Hmm.
she knows this. Like she's
And
supposed.
and now he's even saying like, why the hell? They even wrote in the dialogue, "Why are you saying this?"
Yeah,
That's basically the dialogue. He's like,
we're
"Why are you saying this?"
we're saying this because the audience needs to have shit exposized to them.
Oh,
Eh,
and but then usually they draw it out so the audience can know. But the other character in this scene, basically just said, "You explain it to the audience, but why the hell did you do that?"
yeah, and
Like,
also
so it kind of contradicts itself.
yeah, I will say at the time when I saw this for the first time, I was kind of like, why are they saying that the scientists are full of shit and it's all a bunch of bullshit? Like we have a better solution to the problem. At the time, we didn't have COVID-19 to deal with. Now we're
Right,
seeing all these assholes, these chuckle fucks, thinking that science is a stupid thing. I kind of believe this now.
right.
I,
Like, and you don't even have to do that. The fact that there's still flat earthers and whatnot out there is a
yeah,
sign in and of itself.
yeah.
So
The Earth
there's
is,
always going to be an opposition to the science, no matter what.
yeah,
And if we've learned anything from this pandemic, we've learned it wasn't always the right people who left us.
yeah, yeah.
And dream sequence? What?
Well, she's having dreams because she's infected with one of the spirits or one of the phantoms. So it's like I don't know.
But they're doing a piss poor job of explaining.
Yeah,
There's no. I feel like I need to read a a book before I watch the movie, and it's like if I already read the book, why do I have to watch the movie?
yeah. Yeah, I remember on the DVD of this that this scene there's an option in the special features where you could re-edit the dialogue of this scene into any order you want and sort of create your own edit for the scene. That basically explains how useless and pointless and trite all of this dialogue is, if you could re-edit this shit in any order, it's probably not that well written to begin with.
I did not get the DVD, and that's very interesting because it's like, if you're gonna do something like that, it needs to be like a different. If you switch up the dialogue this way, it needs to end that way type of deal, not just let's have fun.
The proper structure for a script is this happened because that happened, therefore this will happen. But in this scene, it's just this is just and then storytelling, and then and then and then. Yeah, so
it's like getting the level 1 improv troupe together, and they just don't know what's going on.
Yep. God, it's just so gray, and there's gray on screen. And all this stuff that they're talking about, everybody knows this. They're all shocked by what they're saying. Like, they literally know all this stuff. This movie really needed like an actual prologue.
Yeah, it just a little for something, or I feel like this should have been like a sequel too.
Yeah.
Like, this definitely isn't a standalone, and I know they were trying to go for this was going to be the first of many, but this is not a first, so to say. This is definitely a second or third in the list, and they were just like, well, we're just going to pick this one and make it. And it's like, well, we have 5 others before that. No. We're going to do this one.
Yeah. I feel like this script was already written. The way this is probably not true. The way this feels, it feels like a script that was already written, and they just slapped the title Final Fantasy on top of it for marketing reasons. Because if you said this was not a Final Fantasy movie, I'd be like, yeah, there's no real Final Fantasy in that movie.
I honestly would have thought this is like a Matrix knockoff or some shit, honestly.
Yeah. Well, coincidentally, this same production company went on to do the Animatrix, the Final Flight of the Osiris, right after this, and then they closed down.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So they could have interchanged it, honestly. Yeah.
This feels like a council scene from Matrix Reloaded. This feels like the same scene. It's the same goddamn blocking. Oh my god.
That's what I'm saying.
Ugh. He's evil, can you tell?
Considering he's the only one not in gray.
Nice Nazi uniform. Jesus Christ. I mean, look at it. It literally is a fucking SS outfit.
And they weren't subtle back then. Like, this is way before... This is blatant. Like, it's... There's no such subtlety back then with these things. They're wearing quote-unquote white. He's wearing black. He has SS uniform. They have... We are doctors and we are good in plants. You know?
Like, yeah, it's just...
It's very basic good and evil type of situation.
Yeah. God, even the hallways are gray, man. Come on.
They even try to give some sort of light source to it, and like I would have rather have fluorescence.
Yeah, just anything. I feel like you could have reshot this whole movie with actual actors, and it would cost half the budget.
Oh yeah. The scene right here, that could have just been New York during COVID. Done.
So, here's a weird thing. So, this is like nitpicky bullshit, but the way in which they keep the Phantoms out is this weird energy shield. And so, that basically means they had to build this whole facility while all the Phantoms are around and causing chaos. How the hell do they have enough time to build this to cover up an entire fucking city?
I could go into a whole I
I
could go into a whole thing about pro and con, for and against that whole scenario right there.
yeah.
But I, yeah, I mean, the thing is, there's so many times where I've said this similar types of things about movies and whatnot, and every time someone hits me and they're like, "Shut up! You're not supposed to pay attention."
This is the shit that just pops up in my brain. Like I'm just looking at it now. Like look at this thing. It's huge.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and this it
did
kind
they
of
just like?
yeah, they just erected this thing within like a day. Like the Phantoms are able to just rip people's souls out of their bodies. They just built this thing on the fly.
Or they could have just like Tetris the shit together, like, or maybe it was like all pre-Phantom,
Yeah.
and then they just built a barrier field around it. Maybe it. There's so many different, like I said, there's so many for or against.
Yeah. Now it's time for this scene, which this is literally also all just exposition, just to get us back to the point where these two eventually reconnect.
Yep.
It's oh my god, there's not a single of just like we always say on Film Rescue that a thing that would really be good in movies like this is a scene of everybody just kind of hanging around and dicking off. This film doesn't really have that scene of people just kind of hanging around. Like this isn't really hanging around. This is meant to give us backstory on these two characters and their relationship. So it's not really just hanging around.
Again, like I was saying before, I feel like this is the third installment of a movie.
Yeah, this feels like we've missed some stuff.
Yeah, I feel like, oh, I jumped into this series midway through. Cool. It's that I don't think they really truly considered whatsoever.
Yeah.
Because they could have done so much more with this movie if they had just either made a second installment or did even a crawl or a prologue, something beforehand. Like,
yeah, just something to give me some backstory so we don't have to have these scenes. Like this is really doesn't this isn't adding anything. It's telling you where all the other spirits came from, but it just begs the question, like, why do you need 8 spirits? Like, why is it specifically 8?
And that's the things you want to know, but they don't allude to. They're just like,
Yeah.
So here's the thing, and good luck.
Yeah, it's so broad that it can't follow its own rules. Like, why do you need these specific spirits? Why can't you just use anybody's spirits?
Right. Do they have to go through some sort of test? Is it like a predestination? Is it...
I don't know. Creepy. Don't do that.
Yeah, go for the hand that's clasped over her chest.
Yeah, of course. I feel like these characters just have like no chemistry.
Do any of these characters have chemistry?
No, none of them do.
I was about to say, how can you say that there's no chemistry if there's literally no chemistry in the movie?
Yeah. There's no one has any real chemistry with anybody else. Maybe Sid and Aki as like a father-daughter thing, but that's about it.
I didn't know Peyton Manning was in this film.
Oh shit! I can't unsee it. There's an unmotivated light source right there. What the fuck? There's lights on that plaque on the background, but there's no source. Whatever.
Right. And there's
It's just like little shortcuts that like this right here. This oh yeah, he's creepy. Like where the fuck is this light coming from? There's nothing on the table.
yeah, and the shadowing is all sorts of wrong.
Yeah. Like look at the direction of the blinds compared to how the light is falling upon them is completely fucking wrong.
The light was coming from the blinds, but hitting on his opposite side.
Yeah.
It was like that is. You could have asked a toddler and who's drawing a doodle to be like, "Is this right?" And they'd be like, "Nah."
No, just unmotivated light sources. Like, how the fuck do you get unmotivated light sources in a CGI environment? That's a special kind of bad.
And again, I can only use the excuse this was like cutting edge for the time.
Yeah,
like,
some of this doesn't hold up.
Beyond that, it's beyond that.
Yeah. Also, it doesn't help that these two opposing alien forces look literally the same.
Oh yeah.
It's like the same model over and over again. Control C, Control V, Control C, Control V. It's the same fucking. Look at it. It's all the same.
You know what? If we just do enough of them, guys, no one will know.
Nobody will notice that they're all literally the same character model. Nobody will be able to tell. Like nobody has like missing limbs. They like the same color. Like you couldn't make one red, one blue. Like just do anything.
Or even just like like you said, something. There's literally no defining qualities between the two.
Yeah. Also, it's a hideous fucking design. I get it, they're alien, but it's just like it's a design that makes no sense.
It's a robot anteater with like emu legs
with a twisted spine. Like, how does that make any sense at all? How are these things standing upright? I do like this shot. This is kind of cool. This was the trailer shot. This was the big defining thing.
It's scenes like that give me a glimmer of hope.
Yeah.
And then I go back to, oh fuck, well.
Yeah. It cuts from that to literally gray. Like, well, it's gray. The screen is gray again. Like, oh my god, we went from gray to gray again. God damn.
Like the first opening intro with the water reflection and everything, gorgeous.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. And then they just go, and then it keeps going from like, I get they're trying to set a tone, but there is a difference between setting a tone and just fucking lazy.
Yeah. Tucson wasteland. Did we really even need to know it's Tucson? I don't even know what Tucson even looks like.
The same.
the same. It's all just gray.
I mean, Tucson, Arizona is literally just desert, dryness, and like.
Yeah.
There's no. You could have just said Tucson. You didn't even need to add wasteland.
I feel like we typically. On Film Rescue, we have a thing that's referred to like whenever filmmakers use a filter for any like Hispanic nation, like Mexico or Central America, or even like Middle Eastern nations like Iraq or anything like that. We refer to it as a shithole filter, like it's a yellow piss filter that goes over top of the film. It's a very racist visual. We've come to believe it should never be used. It's incredibly offensive. I think this film needs its own kind of filter. Moniker. I guess it's like the cotton ball filter, because it looks like you're watching this film through a cotton ball, because everything just feels so washed out and just so colorless.
Yeah, you know? I could definitely see that.
Like even the red, like right there, the red on his suit, it's like muted and not shining.
It's dull.
It's very dull.
The only time you really see true pops of colors, like right now when they're doing the spirit auras.
Yeah.
And things like that, so the dragon, that pop of red is way better than the armor. And I get like it's armor, it's not gonna be pristine, but still.
Yeah.
And I know that she's a doctor, but I love how they're fully geared with armor, and she doesn't have shit.
She doesn't have shit. She has nothing.
It's like, I got my little monocle going on, and that's her armor.
Well, also,
I feel like that. Yeah.
It begs the question: why do they even fucking need armor? The Phantoms can just go right through it. You don't even need this shit.
Friendly fire? Question mark.
Friendly from what?
From each other.
They don't even need this crap. Like the Phantoms can go right through them. I don't know. I just feel like it'd be faster just to be out there with like somebody that's just running with a backpack.
Again, this is why I just typically when I watch with like a general populace, I just like keep my mouth shut with these scenes.
No,
Like,
it's fine.
again, with general populace, like when we're doing these things and we have to analyze it, but
Yeah.
it's these things where I'm trying to like enjoy a movie with friends, or there's like Hope, shut up. And I get that was like her spirit thing in her, like
Yeah.
affecting her, but that literally just looked like she was stifling a burp, maybe.
That's dumb.
Damn.
That's dumb. That's just You're telling me
I'm
a single-celled organism is the seventh spirit? Are you fucking kidding me? See, like, look, the armor did nothing.
yeah.
The
Oh,
armor
I know.
did nothing. Hey, you know, that drop ship would be really great to have with like rocket
Right.
launchers and shit right now. Why the fuck did they just fly right to the thing?
That's what that's a whole other thing too. Like, did they not want to like draw attention? I guess, but
But they
they're
drop buoys to
obviously
draw
drawing
them
attention
away.
now.
I don't know. It's
Something's attracting them.
I wonder what it could be.
Gee, you took the one thing that could attract them with you.
Yeah.
Like, and I also love how the names they give these people Gray, because he's all gray.
Gray,
The one
Jane, yeah.
the one female is Jane, G.I. Jane. Oh,
Yeah.
really thought of it there.
Yeah.
Like,
That's cool. I will say that's pretty cool.
okay. See, it's these
Like
it's
that
those
little
things right
thing.
there give me
Yeah.
glimmers of hope, and then in 2 seconds I'm gonna be like, well, that was wasted.
Yeah. You know what this feels like? I just realized something. You know what this is? It's like the original version of Ghostbusters that Dan Aykroyd originally wanted to make, where they were using like wands in the future, as opposed to
Oh,
it's the
instead of, like,
original version of
cat.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. What happens when a soul dies? Does the soul have a soul?
You know, there's been actually quite a few different thought processes about that. Like, and it depends on the religions too, honestly.
But the
So,
concept of reincarnation and such.
right. Well, not
Yeah.
only that, but even if you look at films like Coco, how you're always, as long as you're always remembered, you live in the afterlife. But as soon as you're forgotten, then you're done.
Huh.
And that's a whole other thing as well. You know, that like they call it the final death. You know,
Gotcha.
so it is very interesting whether if it's that or reincarnation or
Yeah.
enlightenment, whatever you call it, whatever you believe in. But
Yeah.
there's so many different thought processes behind that. And then there's people who are just like, soul? What soul? We just die. Like, you know?
I feel like these aliens are rejected character models from the Metroid games.
Oh my god. It's like, let's just like hodgepodge these together and
Yeah.
see what you make out of it.
Look, it's literally the same character model. They're all the same. Yeah. I saw Terminator 2.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh no.
Really?
John Woo.
Like, Talk about fucking trigger happy.
I don't
I
know.
feel like that's anybody with a gun these days, though. Just like,
Yeah.
well, it moved. Let's shoot.
I saw Empire Strikes Back.
Don't you tell me the odds.
Shut up! Now that right there, that's trailer shot. That is definitely a trailer
Yeah.
shot. Yeah.
Well, because at that time they always chose the best damn scenes they
Yeah.
had.
They chose the most colorful scenes and to put into the trailer, and then you see it's just like looks like this. It's just gray everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like if fucking Blade Runner, a movie made in the 1980s, can look better than this, you have a serious problem.
Star Wars, where half the movie takes place in space.
Yes, it looks better than this. Like, guys, you have literally every asset at your disposal, and this is the best you could make.
We have Mr. Nazi back.
Yes. Hello, Mr. Himmler.
Oh. Honestly, it's him and Peyton Manning. That is a goddamn sitcom right there. It's Peyton and Hitler.
Wait, you have to implant it directly into her chest? Well, how'd you get the other 6 in there? What?
The
I,
same?
I don't. Oh my god.
That's the thing. Like that was a whole other thing they neglected as well.
Yeah, like what? How is she holding this stuff in her chest? How are they containing this stuff? It's just all. It feels like
what technology did they create in order to do this?
Yeah, if you could literally contain these spirits in her chest, couldn't you create like a bomb that also creates like an energy shield to trap the phantoms? Because you know that these things are made of the same energy, so wouldn't you assume, hey, they're also bioetheric, therefore they're ghosts? Guys, just it's the.
Now, are they about to do like a spirit transplant now? Like...
Oh god, if you can literally transplant someone's spirit into another body, what? Is there even such a
going through half of this right now?
Yeah, is there even such a thing as death at that point? It's like fairy tale logic. Don't question it, don't think about it.
Well, even fairy tales at least have moralities and life lessons and shit.
There's nothing in this film.
Have that.
there's like no deeper meaning or deeper thought. It's just a story, which is fine. Like, but there isn't even like
a story.
There isn't really a story. It's just do these things and get this stuff to stop the bad guys. There's nothing really to it.
It's like I paid for it. It's like I paid for a game that was $60, but really only should have been $20. Like,
yeah. I wouldn't say I felt cheated when I saw this film the first time, but I definitely was very disappointed.
I just know when I first saw this as well, I was in a completely different mindset. So it was.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're talking 20-something years at least since I've seen this, so.
Yeah.
That was a whole lifetime ago.
You have an awful underbite. Jesus.
All I'm seeing right now is the opening and intro to the sitcom that I proposed. That's all I see right now.
This whole hallway scene reminds me of the opening of Star Wars, the Darth Vader entrance.
Oh yeah.
It looks just like it. Yeah.
Only not as colorful.
Yeah. And that's also in like fucking white hallways, and it looks better than this.
Yeah.
So not only is the film gray, now we also add in like a blue tinted filter because we're in a dream world, but we're already in a dream, so why is this like this? I'm so invested in the battle of these two armies.
Right,
I get it, the idea of they're caught in the crossfire, I get it, but it's just like, I don't know what they're fighting for, I don't know what the conflict is. They all look the same. There's no there's no decals, nothing.
And the fact that if they are in a dream, why are they like huddling in the background?
Yeah,
like,
nothing's gonna hurt you.
Like, I would be watching, examining, getting clues, pieces, something that I can like learn from this, and not just like, well, if I sleep in my dream, maybe I'll wake up. Like,
yeah. Luckily, Superman escaped just in the nick of time. Like, I get it, the idea of like, oh, we have to explain where the hell these things came from, but we're halfway through the movie and we're just now getting an explanation.
I feel like we're more than halfway at this point. Like,
we're about 50 minutes in.
About halfway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you do not have your papers.
It's nice to see that the Spartans from Halo are still getting employment.
Oh, God.
Because nobody's continuing with that series at this point. God, even the fucking photograph is gray, you assholes! Jesus.
I also love how he's supposed to be drinking scotch and it blended into the desk.
Like, I know.
The two tones. I'm like, did he finish it or what?
I don't know. God.
It's kind of just like, where does gold color gets in? It's fine. We can go outside the lines.
Why the hell would anybody agree to this? This plan is dumb.
And again, you're really just seeing politics versus science again.
Yeah. And
for the 1,000th time. That's all it truly is.
That's a Final Fantasy VII reference. That's clearly meant to be Midgar right there.
Or...
but it's just, the plan is we're going to lower the shields to let some phantoms in so we can force the council to make a decision. But you literally just forced all the people in this room to leave at gunpoint. So they're going to say, hey, he made us leave. Also, the evidence of, hey, we saw Aki Ross's dreams. She's clearly being controlled by the phantoms. Maybe the scientists are full of shit. You have a ton of evidence without having to do this.
But, how else will he get to flex his small penis?
It's because the movie needs to happen. Oh man, how's that for mouth movements? Ooh.
That's what we call Italian speaking.
Eh.
You're supposed to focus on the hands and the arms.
Fucking stumble bum over there. Jesus Christ. Is it?
I was waiting for that to play.
What?
That just, you always need that one person to just be like, but really?
Does it though? Does it make sense? Oh, it makes perfect sense. They're ghosts, of course. Jesus Christ.
Well, I mean, they picked a great word, phantom, to represent them.
Well, of course.
We're gonna pick the name that's so closely to what they actually are without knowing what they are. I love how he's about to also just unleash havoc on his own men in the scientists, but you're gonna hold your fire against a creature who's literally about to attack you.
I know. It's Also, didn't any of these guys think, hey, we're about to let some phantoms in? Wouldn't it be a good idea to bring those like pulse rifles that have the phantom killing energy in them?
Right. So
okay, that's why you have the armor. Okay, there it is. Okay. All right, so you were right.
Okay.
Friendly fire. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You fucked up.
What every great man in power says before he's about to be dethroned.
That's clearly like Final Fantasy VII shot, the elevator.
Mm-hmm.
This is Final Fantasy blowing up the Midgar reactor. Like, there are
They've definitely drawn.
Shades. Yeah, there's shades of these games.
Yeah, they've drawn some inspiration. Obviously, it couldn't have just been straight out of the darkness, but
yeah, but it just feels like it's like dangling a shiny object in front of a cat, where it's meant to sort of trick you into thinking that it is something that it's not.
Right.
Like this, like I said, if this didn't have the title Final Fantasy, I wouldn't be making that association.
Oh, not at all.
Yeah, it's just
like,
a reactor blowing up.
Another shot blowing up. Yeah.
Yeah. The other problem with the film is that they don't really establish like the stakes. Like, is this the last bastion of humanity? Like, is this it?
That's another thing as well, because if it is, you would think there would be some sort of sector with like families or children or something.
Some kind of easy evacuation mechanic, like other than just get in a ship and go.
Just a base or an outpost.
Yeah.
Is this
Another problem is this is supposed to be an action scene, but there's no, because this is the early days of CGI, realistic CGI, they didn't really know how to put energy into the film.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look at these shots. It just feels so like bland, and there's just like not a lot of energy to the movement. It's very static. But then you go to like the next Final Fantasy film, which was Advent Children, and it's a little too frenetic. It's too crazy.
Right.
It's too crazy. It's like it's
It's like
shaky
they were trying to
camera.
overcompensate
Yeah,
for.
yeah. Well, I say Advent Children is a more enjoyable film. I would say it's also got its own fair share of problems.
Oh, it has its problems, but
Yeah,
I at least like thoroughly enjoyed Advent Children
yeah,
because it was a true Final Fantasy film,
yeah,
so at least I could get behind the lore and everything
yeah.
at
It's a
least.
direct sequel. It's not meant to be its own
Yeah,
thing. Yeah,
exactly.
which is both a benefit and a detriment to that film. It's a continuation of that story, which is nice, but at the same time, it's like if you've never played the game, don't bother. You'll never understand what's going
Right.
on. Sephiroth just shows up for no reason.
He likes to be classy when he makes his entrances.
I was. Is it just me, or is this kind of funny? Like he's trying to grab his way back into his body.
You know what? That also no, that brings up a whole other thing. Like, do the spirits have that type of movement and self-awareness where they can try and go back into their body? That's a
Yeah,
whole other plot line, honestly.
yeah. Do they
Or
have
like
do
if
they have autonomy in and of themselves? If they actually are able to physically move outside of their own body, then does that mean that they're actually a second entity inside the human being?
right, and if that's the case, would they be able to fight back against these creatures while they're in their just spirit form? Or
Uh,
is this just like something that's what I would have been researching, quite honestly.
yeah.
Is there a way to like make spirit warriors kind of like Nightmare on Elm Street, Dream Warriors, but like instead of Dream Warriors, it's Spirit Warriors.
There you go. This is clearly the Midgard chase in Final Fantasy VII on the highway. It's clearly that. I just noticed something. Everybody's got the same color eyes. They're all brown. I think maybe
Well,
Sid has gray eyes, but everybody else, all their eyes are just brown. Like, it just changing people's eye color just distinguishes them. Like, somebody would have like blue eyes or green eyes, just something. Like, just everything just looks the same.
yeah, you would think there'd be some distinction because in any type of it's always, especially if you're a huge like anime fan like I know I am, you could the joke's always been, oh, you can point out a main character anywhere from from the background because it's either like their hair or their eyes,
Yeah.
and in this it's like, well, we have no idea who's the main character.
Yeah, like I know in this film, like Aki's supposed to be the main character, but she's not even doing anything right now.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you would have no idea that she is the main
Yeah.
character because of that. Like, you're given clues to allude to that, but there's no
Yeah.
defining speech or characteristics or anything. It's just they're telling you.
Yeah. The three defining features of a character are who are they, what do they want, and why do they want it. Like if you ask me about, maybe you can give me some background on Aki, like who she is, what she wants, why she wants it. I can get that character. Yes, it's basic, but it's something. Gray, I really couldn't tell you what the hell his character is. Like his
He's-
name, he is Gray. Oh God, Gray fucking smoke. God damn it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's no. Oy.
Yeah. Ugh.
I've gotten better color coordinations from black and white films.
I mean, a lot of the best cinematographers tend to work in black and white because it's less hassle. You get to work with light and shadow and texture. That's really it. Color is where it gets tricky.
Oh,
Color
I guess-
theory. Color theory. That's a big thing. If you want a very interesting thing to look into color theory. It's a fascinating analysis of colorization of films.
Oh yeah.
It
I mean,
matters.
even-
It really matters, guys.
No, but even beyond that, like been a huge person growing up in color theory. My mom has like 4 degrees in art.
Yeah.
So that's been drilled into my head. So I always definitely look at things like that. But it's just crazy how the most basic thing, it truly is basic, can be overlooked.
Yeah. This is clearly a film made by somebody who is not a filmmaker. That's the biggest problem. It's designing a game is very different because you're designing it more for the player to be interactive. If this was a game, I would have turned it off not even halfway through.
Oh yeah. A lot of the games I play, especially RPGs, like role-playing game, you need to know the role, the story,
Yeah.
who that role is, and this just doesn't give any of that.
Yeah, that's a damn good point. This is based on a role-playing game, and yet all the roles are bland as fuck.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Just come on. The one thing you're supposed to get right.
I have more character development from Call of Duty. Like, goddamn.
At least those characters have some fucking personality.
That's what I'm saying. There's more character development and backstory in Call of Duty games than this shit right now.
Yeah, you're right. That's just sad.
And right now I feel like they're just throwing out a lot of, like, quote-unquote airborne technology terminology.
Yeah,
For the hell of it.
I mean, this is clearly like the setup. Oh yeah, these two characters are about to die. Like, yeah, we get it. It's we got to get them off the ship so we can get rid of them, so we can get the rest of the movie to happen. I just feel so kind of disengaged emotionally with this.
Yeah, like there's no...
Because these characters aren't terribly interesting and there's no real chemistry or backstory to them as people, I just feel like, what's the point? I just realized something. Those two characters have the same hair model. Look at the hair.
Oh, yeah.
Is this Jesus Christ, one's just longer. Oh my god. Like, are you kidding me? The shortcuts that they took.
It is a shame, though, because they did get such, as you said before, such prominent voice actors.
Yeah, and none of them...
for these roles, and they're just, like, throwaways. Like, normally you would not put these people in throwaway roles, ever.
Yeah, if you're gonna hire these major actors, have them act. Like, have them actually committing to putting a character in these characters. I know that these films are done kind of backwards. They do the animation first, and then they put the dialogue into it. I understand that, but there needed to be more synergy with the production, and it just feels like the left hand didn't know what the right was doing.
Well, even because of that, usually, so in voice acting, because it's done that way, the voice actors can actually see the scenes and everything, so they can actually connect better.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that. So because it's not like they're filming against a green screen, like they know.
Yeah.
So I've seen better voice acting because of that, but this just, no.
Yeah. Script is bland. The acting is kind of flat because of it. It's a perfect storm of bland. I think you got it.
I also want to know about these weapons too. Like, it obviously shoots out some sort of energy, and yet she's out. So, like, is it the battery that's dead? Is it a chamber?
I mean, they say it's little Ovapack things that are made of the bioetheric energy, but at the same time, it's just like it's never really established how much of that is used. Like, I don't
exactly.
know.
That's what I'm saying.
Also, didn't she just go grab a bunch of those? Why didn't she have a spare?
Another point, like, there was definitely more she could have.
Yeah.
But again, just as you said, as is the sequential part of this type of structure,
yeah,
they needed to die.
Yeah, they're there to be killed so that way we can get the rest of the movie to move forward. We're going into our third act pretty soon. Sure. Why not?
Why not?
You know what's odd? They show these kind of like big crab like. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. We see the word bitch in the I use subtitles all the time. I always use subtitles.
So do I. That's I need them.
Yeah, but they basically cover it up with the gunfire. Like, okay, so we can watch people get their souls ripped out of their bodies, but saying the word bitch, that's too much.
Yeah.
I don't get it. But yeah, like this like crab creature, this looks like the scarabs from Halo. It's the same design.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm looking at this and I'm like, well, in that entire dream sequence, we never saw this thing. We never saw the dragon thing.
No, this is a complete. These are two completely different creatures as opposed. And I'm also not even gonna lie. That dude should have already been passed out by now.
Yeah.
Because if you have something where you're gushing blood, it's impacted you to where you can't move. Like,
yeah.
You would not be awake. Yeah. Unless you had given yourself like a shot of adrenaline or something, and he clearly said no drugs.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm just like, maybe that's just like the medic in me and the crime scene cleaner in me, but I'm just like, no.
Oh man, it's so intense.
And again, he just blew that up, but will that explosion actually affect the creature? Or is it just kind of like that's a whole other process I'm trying to think.
Yeah, like that explosion isn't made of the same energy, so why would it in any way ever harm the creature?
Unless it's more of a distraction, but and now we have the self-sacrificing shining knight in armor scenario going on.
Last man standing, I get it.
This is for you, Aki. This is for the romance that we never had, but it's implied.
Like, dude, just run. Like, seriously. You know, how the fuck is he missing? Dude, it's so fucking big.
Oh, I know.
Couldn't you do that charge up thing you did the last time, where you charged up and you killed that dragon?
Yeah. Oh, and now we have the damsel saving the man. Wait, just so many tropes.
Yeah.
So many tropes. Oh.
You know, if this is the last bastion of humanity, and this is all that's left, it doesn't matter if they actually stop these things, because everyone's dead.
Right, and there's no way that the old man, Aki, and What's-His-Nuts is going to make enough sustaining populace. Like, that's just not going to happen.
Isn't it like you need, 10,000 people to maintain a society or something like that?
I think it can be a smidgen less, but yes,
you need enough genetic pairs to actually maintain proper genetic development. Wasn't at a certain point the human race was cut down to like 50,000 people or something like that back during the Ice Age or something like that?
I would have to reread about that, but it was very slim.
It was very slim. Humanity almost went extinct. But this is like, if these are the last 3 people, then yeah, you're done. Like, you can just give up now.
At that point, I'd be like, all right, bust out the booze, guys. Let's go.
Let's just drink.
Until I get alcohol poisoning and die, because who wants to be in this situation?
Yeah. That would actually be kind of a cool, kind of like, existential horror story. You've seen that photo of the person standing on the moon and a meteorite goes through the moon, or that goes through the Earth. What if it was like the horror story is him just stuck on the moon, not knowing what to do with his time until his oxygen runs out?
It's between the oxygen and food supply, yeah.
Yeah, like stuck there, can't get out, can't. There's nowhere to go home. Like something like that would be a really terrifying thing because it's just so dour. I mean, we're trying, but like we just established that if the human race is now dead, and yet we're trying to feel love for these characters that we know almost nothing about. Oh, is this the space sex scene? Oh, for fuck's sake! This is not
All right,
earned at all. It's because this is the thing that has to happen in these kinds of movies.
Obviously.
Yeah. But this is absolutely the wrong time for this, guys.
Let's celebrate us living by. I know Grandpa's right behind us, but you know. Grandpa Sid, just close your eyes. Oh, and then we have the neo-Nazi who survives as well, because, you know, you always have to have a villain.
Yeah, of course.
And obviously, they don't have cyanide pills back then. Or
forward.
maybe not back then, but in the future.
Yeah.
I guess in the future they don't have cyanide pills.
Also, can't you actually not take firearms onto a spacecraft because of the change in air pressure? Wouldn't it actually?
Oh yeah, that's a whole thing because it could. I mean, again, future technology, blah blah blah.
Yeah, I know.
But you would think at that point a firearm of that caliber would not be quote unquote in existence.
Yeah. Yeah, we just got done fucking Sid. What's up?
I just feel and he's just coming up on him like flexing like, yeah, you know what I just did. Ugh. And that's called we haven't thought the story through enough, so we're going to leave it to your imagination.
Throw shit at the wall, see what sticks. It's fine. Also, didn't they say that the chest plate was damaged?
Busted.
But now it works? Oh, whatever.
Yeah, that's why he, like, phased with his spirit with her or whatever to, like, help.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm so invested in this story. I will say this is a Final Fantasy VII reference. This giant space cannon. This is clearly the giant cannon that's in Final Fantasy VII. I can't remember the name of it. It's like a seaside giant. It's a giant seaside gun.
Oh, they're definitely drawing a lot of their material from the 7. That is for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's other places. Okay. But that's...
Okay, yeah, I was about to say because, you know, there's also that council from the beginning of the movie that they mentioned, so...
Yeah. It also... I just realized something. So they have the ability of space travel. They built a giant station up here in space. Why the fuck did they just build a giant fucking moon base? Just leave!
Maybe they were maybe they had done enough recon to see that their positioning would take, maybe it would take too many generations aboard like a spaceship in order to reach the next planet with their technology, possibly.
Well, I'm just saying, like, build like a station in orbit. Like, they have one. This giant gun thing. Just put like 1,000 people on that thing and just like build your own self-sustaining environment. Like,
and they probably
did
do
you
that
really?
For like military personnel, but not like for general populace.
Yeah, but if you're down to the last group of people on the planet, I think that just like anybody would be good.
Right.
Yeah. This is clearly the Gaia theory from Final Fantasy VII. Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, with the spirits and
Yeah.
how the plants and the soul. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah. Meteor fighting Holy at the end of the game, and etc. etc. This is kind of the same ending, where the thing that they're using to stop the main villain backfires and it causes even more destruction.
The only difference is that it's just
they built up to it over the course of 80 hours.
Yeah, exactly, and actually gave you characters and plot points. And
Yeah,
true.
You give a shit.
You're right. You actually I know people who broke down and cried at the end of Final Fantasy VII, whereas this, I'm just like, if you see a tear, it's from me yawning.
Right. Aki's hair is just so weird. It's too flat. I know it's a product of its time, but it's so just weird to look at. It looks so. It looks wet.
I know they're trying to go for like a thicker type hair because of what race and everything they're trying to portray for her.
Yeah.
And yes, like Asians typically do have thicker.
Is she Asian?
Hair.
Is she Asian? I know the voice actress is, but
Aki, come on.
But I don't know. She looks a little bit more like Hispanic.
I'm assuming that she's at least half.
Okay.
Because I only say that because you have I'm going to tell you right now, back in these time frames, you had everyone's white, and you had a token black guy, which they had their token black guy.
And he's dead.
And one token Asian, and that would be her, especially since this is a Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
And it's Ming-Na is voicing her.
Yeah.
I highly doubt, don't get me wrong, I have biggest crush on Ming-Na Wen. Freaking love her, but I highly
everybody
doubt
loves her, yeah.
that they would hire her as a voice actress if they're going to do a Caucasian character.
Well, I mean, they did it with that Ghost in the Shell movie where they cast Scarlett Johansson as an Asian woman.
Okay, we're not going to talk about that.
Go to the Montressor.
That's a whole other thing.
Go to the Montressor Media YouTube page and listen to me and Seth fix Ghost in the Shell in about 20 minutes. Basically, we just said not racist. There you go, done.
Yeah, you guys probably made the right choice of cutting me out of that one. I would have gone on way too long about that.
Oh, and that's another movie that has just the ugliest color palette. It's so ugly. It's so hideous by comparison to its anime.
Especially if you're comparing it to its original product.
Yeah.
I have the soundtrack to that movie. I have the DVD. I have everything. That was my shit. And then when I saw that monstrosity, I was like,
yeah.
You killed me inside.
Ugh. Oh no. Couldn't you have just done that to start?
Yeah, I could have cut down about 2 hours on this. You could just start here and make this a 20-minute movie.
Yeah.
Done.
End of the world. Let's live it up.
My thoughts exactly.
Yeah, I'm so riveted by this dialogue. It's just
And especially
like
when you
General
have
Heinrich Himmler. Like, guys, are you even trying?
that's what
Ugh.
I'm saying. Like, not only that, but when you have these close-ups on these talking scenes, you really draw so much focus to the lapse
Yeah,
in everything.
yeah.
So it makes it even that much harder to want to pay attention.
Yeah, it highlights not just the bad lip syncing because technology wasn't quite there yet, but also highlights the not so great script, which doesn't carry the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, that whole time I was like trying to read the text script in the background on the computers. Like, is there better information on the throwaway text than
Yeah.
what's going on here?
So they basically they're trying to implying that the alien homeworld is like a parasite. The ghost of the world is a parasite or something, I guess.
I feel so. What they're trying to say is there is a chunk of meteor that the last living remnants lived on, and that
Yeah.
meteor crashed and it held the spirits of the survivors, is what I'm saying. So I guess the
Yeah.
spirits of the survivors,
But that
I guess,
means that there's
were
also
parasitic?
but
Like,
but
I don't.
but that brings up a problem. It basically means that all the phantoms are therefore finite. So why is it that they just keep appearing? Like, what are they made
guess,
of? Like, are they breeding?
and that's the thing, because have they unlocked, like how I said before, how they should tap into their spirit and try and control that? Have they unlocked that knowledge to just keep on living through their spirit?
Unclear.
And that's a whole other thing. That could have been a whole other movie or something.
Yeah.
And we have the ether pond below us.
Yeah. Sephiroth's gonna come down, stab her in the back.
Right.
You don't need to keep pulling yourself. You just need to do it one time.
And see that doesn't even look spirit. That looks more
That looks like a weed. It doesn't look like a
that
ghost.
looks. That's what I was about to say. It looks like a volcanic weed of some sort.
Yeah, it's
Like how it was presented.
It's trying to be like three different things at the same time. It doesn't work.
It's the movie Malignant.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, we're going to do a commentary track on that movie because Jesus Christ.
Oh, please.
Oh, we'll save that for the later in this weekend. Oh my God. Could not have hoped for a better location to find a compatible. Oh, yeah, really? Okay. If you say so.
So you just said don't fight them, and then say, "Oh, but use combat strategy." Like, again, so many oxymorons in this dialogue.
Hey, you know what would really be useful right now? That scanner thing where you could find that one last spirit. Also, the last spirit is a phantom? What does that make any fucking sense?
And I thought they were gonna just lure it out with the other 7 with her.
Yeah.
Wasn't that the plan? To get her close enough to lure it out? Like,
yeah, well, apparently they're all coming to this one location, so it really changes nothing. Is there film grain over to? Oh, dude, they put film grain over top of their CGI. Are you kidding me?
I honestly was about to say, is it the film? Is it the quality of my TV? But
No, it's film
not
grain. They put a film grain
Oh
on
my
top of
God.
CGI, and it's gray. Oh God, this is so ugly.
They really did not need to do that.
No.
Like, we understand this is a different source of plane that you're
Yeah.
on. You did not need.
Oh, she's pregnant. Oh, I get it. Oh, okay.
Adding on to the trope.
Yeah, it just. Oh, I get it. Gaia, Mother Earth. Oh, I get it.
I give you life.
I know writers that use subtext, and they're all fucking cowards.
Nah, they're all just bros. Oh, do we get more? Because it impregnated you.
But how did it get through the shield? How did?
Because it impregnated her.
But how did it touch her?
Because reasons.
Oh,
Don't you realize?
It impregnated her with a spirit, so it's immaculate conception?
Well, yeah, because if it's Gaia, then you have to have the holy birth.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Literally, Jesus Christ.
Yes, exactly.
I am just flabbergasted.
Again, they're just pulling so many different things right now.
Yeah, how? Don't worry. Said the writing team.
I know it's only what we've been wanting to know for this entire time, but don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it, bro. It's all good.
Oh, Ming-Na, you're so much better than this.
I know. I hope the paycheck was worth it. I hope she got a really
Right.
nice car.
Right, something. I mean, this was the follow-up to Mulan, so come on.
Oh, God, yeah, you're right. Damn. Oh, jeez.
So she just went down.
Yeah. There we go. Holy taking effect. Destroying meteor. And then it backfires. It's basically the same ending as Final Fantasy VII. It all backfires. We get it. You're the bad guy.
Just add some more eerie music in the background, why don't you?
So did they just kill the Earth?
That's another thing that I can't. So was he just trying to destroy the meteor, or was he just trying to go for the core? Because that could just do two majorly different things. to what
Yeah.
you're, quote unquote, trying to save.
Ugh.
Like,
Okay, that's okay. Finally, some color. Okay, that's kind of cool.
yeah. Okay. Again, we have our glimpses. I feel like some of these shots were like if they offered it in 3D and then you had like the debris flying at you. Like,
Yeah, I can see that.
it's like that was like a thought they might have had, and they're like, nah, cut it. That's too expensive.
Yeah. And of course, the main villain dies not via anybody else other than his own his own ignorance
By his own
hand.
pride and yeah.
Kablamo!
Now it's time to sing Kumbaya.
Yeah. Yeah, see, it's like a weed. It's not like a spirit. It's a weed, which is like... How does it keep growing? It doesn't make any sense. It's not... I don't get it.
Unless, like, those dragons and what... Not salamander, whatever things, like, when it ever extracted souls, maybe that helped make it grow because it was gaining the life force of all the extracted souls.
Sure. We'll go with it.
I'm pulling shit out of my ass right now.
Well, that's kind of all you can do because the plot doesn't make any sense. I don't know. Even just visually, this is just kind of dull, and it's, $175 million for this.
Then again, you got to think for the cast they got, half of that went straight to the voice actors.
Oh, of course. Like you hire all these big guys. Yeah.
For the people that they grabbed, that was half the budget right there.
Yeah.
And then, unfortunately, that's probably what made their CGI budget so shitty. And if I was one of the people working on this saying, oh, well, you get $5, I'd be like, well, fuck you too. I'm going to give you $5 worth of gray.
I feel like it's just a matter of... What? I thought the fucking breastplate was supposed to stop that from happening.
Immaculate conception instead of through the chest and not through the stomach.
I don't get it. But yeah, it's just a Final Fantasy movie where there's almost no real fantasy, and the original creator signed off on all this. It's just the knuckleheaded decisions just to make a film for a wide audience. This is a prime example of how you don't make a film for a wide audience. You make something like a Lord of the Rings. Like a Lord of the Rings is where it's not like deep themes, but you're interested with the characters, and it's visually impressive because it's not leaning on the CGI. Like the C in CGI should not stand for crutch. Like This is leaning on that hard, and it's unfortunately not aged well because it's just so bland. So his soul doesn't get completely ripped out of his body. Why?
And is he transmuting? Like,
he's taking the 8 other spirits and turning into the hero of the story, even though technically this should be her story.
Right.
She should be the one to make the sacrifice. Why is he the one that does it? I don't feel like this was earned.
Like, I definitely... That moment right there makes me think of... So I watched the show Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and they have a character named the Vulture. And every time they're 99% about to be solved with the case, the Vulture swoops in and takes all the credit. And basically that's what just happened. He vultured her.
Oh, God. You're right.
Now my name will go down in history as the savior. Yeah!
Yes, you're right here. This is Holy from Final Fantasy VII. This is, it's Holy... saved Gaia, etc., etc. Yes. You've seen this. So did it kill the phantoms? Did it purify them?
Did it release them? Did it...
I don't know.
I understand that they, saved Gaia and the energy and all, but they didn't... And, what happened to the Phantoms, unless they're about to do another exposition of...
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. See, this is like fairy tale stuff. Like this is like simple
Yeah.
fairy tale stuff. It's
And and of course you have to have the shot where she brings the body with her, but at that point it's like he's dead. There's no
yeah. I
you're
mean,
just doing that for your own comfort at that point.
it's a standard kind of sort
Yeah.
of misogynistic Hollywood trope, like the woman always has to pine after the man. Like,
Exactly.
yeah,
And
it's
especially with that type of like holding that
yeah.
they were doing, like
He sacrifices himself so that her mission can be finished. But it's like it was her job to do
it was her
this.
job, her mission. She was the one from the get-go ready to do that.
Yeah, there's no reason other than we want our main character to live. But it's just,
Right.
uh,
Even though it's really hard to tell that she was even the main character. Like
yeah. I mean, I like this song, but like God, even like this is supposed to be a lake setting in the mountains. It's Hironobu Sakaguchi. You created Final Fantasy, and then you walked away after this film because it tanked so hard. Walked away and took all of his money with him. But like, look at that. It's like it's so fucking gray. Like, couldn't the water just be blue? Like
I get it's
something.
supposed to be like iced over or whatever, but there's different tones, especially in that light or structure. And
See, original story, Hironobu Sakaguchi. Like,
Yep.
if you want to blame anybody, blame it. But then written by Al Reinhardt and Jeff Vinter. So it really, I don't.
it was a collaboration.
Yeah, Elliot Goldenthal, who did the score for Alien 3, which I quite like. Yeah. Jack Fletcher, you're responsible for the terrible voice acting? Okay.
I was about to say that the terrible voice acting, they got great names.
Yeah.
So it's just
Is that really the entire
script-
cast?
Yeah.
Wow, there's so few people in this movie. Oh my god. There's so few people. That is insane.
I thought there was more as well, especially like when they did the council scene, but I guess it was more just filler than actual
It's just
speech.
background people. There's no
Yeah.
like characters. It's like this handful of people and that's it.
Or even I thought like some of you would at least have some credit for like military personnel 5 grunts or some like or additional
Yeah.
voices, like something like that. But I guess now truly looking back there, you really didn't have any background character voicing. Because usually in those situations they have like 1 to 3 people and their role is quote unquote additional voices.
It may have been
You know-
it may have been SAG rules or something like that. Maybe it's like because it's realistic CGI. Maybe they were trying to run it through a different ruling of unions. I don't know, but that is bizarre seeing just that cast be like not even a full screen size. It's so
Right.
bizarre seeing that.
And like I said, usually, and no matter what it is, unless it's a very short film, like a 5-minute film for something like this, you definitely have more of a casting.
Yeah. It's funny seeing like visual effects artists and all this stuff for films like this back then in the 1999,
90s.
2000, and then you see like Marvel movies now, and every time they get to the digital effects category, it's just a giant block of names.
Oh yeah, it's like longer than any other credit given at
Yeah.
this point.
Yeah, it's the longest credit in all those movies. So bizarre.
I'm surprised there was so few motion captures, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, and that also proves like the motion capture was not done by the original actors or the voice actors for the film, so the performances feel off. Like,
And it was probably so basic at the time. They were probably just like, okay, we'll do this and this, but they probably weren't like quote unquote trained
yeah,
for body movement acting.
yeah. I mean, like I said, this is an interesting anomaly of a film because it is the stepping stone to get to where we are now. So,
So I mean, I guess I salute you for being the beginning, but thank you for also being the end.
yeah, I mean, this was the first and last film of Square Studios. After this, they merged over with Enix and became Square Enix. Yeah. Post-production, Skywalker Sound.
Lucas Digital.
Lucas
Yeah.
Digital, yeah.
Kind of disappointed at that.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really fault the sound. The sound is fine in the movie. It's just
Nope,
it's
the
just
fact
in
that
service
they
of a movie
paired
that's not
up
good.
and-
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, the last commentary track we did was for The Last Action Hero, and that movie also was done at Skywalker Sound. So, you know.
Yeah, gotta get what they can, I guess.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Extra cat. John DiMaggio, who actually went on to play Marcus Phoenix.
Oh man.
There you
Okay,
go.
So,
Yeah.
so we do have. Okay, so they are.
Yeah. There you go.
I feel like that's real bullshit, honestly.
That is
to put
bullshit. That is bullshit.
their name. Because I was gonna say, I swear there was other actor, like voice acting, but like that's such bullshit to
Throw them at the tail end.
to throw them so far away
Yeah.
from what they did.
Yeah.
Like that's
Not important enough to be credited with the actual cast. That is pretty shitty.
and I get like if you did it like a break between like your big like if you did like producers, editors, main cast and then
Mhm.
but the fact that it's basically they were at point A and then they got at point
Yeah.
Q, like what the hell?
Thanks to everyone at Square who supported this production. All these people probably got fired.
Oh god. That or it's probably just like oh my gosh, they're just like shoving their heads in sand right now, just like please forget this.
Yeah. They very quickly got away from this movie and pretty much just buried it. Yeah. I mean, not too long after this, you got a film called Sky Captain and the World Tomorrow, which was the first, I believe, the first green screen film, which was also an interesting anomaly, and that it led to things like Sin City and 300, but that also was a fad that died out pretty quick.
Yeah, Sky Captain also took it a way different direction than like Sin City and The Spirit and all those movies did as well. So they try to do it in a completely different context, whereas it worked with Sin City because with its comic book-esque thing, but
yeah, and Sky Captain actually has like a vision of a director. You know, it feels like it is somebody's idea, whereas this, like, there's no like director vision. There's no there's no point to the movie other than let's just do a Final Fantasy movie and not put any Final Fantasy into the Final Fantasy movie.
Just slap the name. Yeah, let's just slap the name and see how it goes.
Yeah. Sorry, Jack.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So apparently Jack Liao passed that year, and that is not the memoriam that I would have asked for.
Yeah. At least it's not as bad as John Candy with a film called Wagons East, which is fucking terrible. Yeah, there are worse examples. Yeah.
Oh, there are worse, but in this reference as of now, like, yeah.
Square Pictures, the first and last film of Square Pictures. I think that brings us to the end. Well, thank you for listening to our commentary track for Final Fantasy The Spirits Within. We're so sorry.
Please survive. I know I needed some liquid courage before this, so you should too.
Yeah. Well, thank you, and good night.
Good night, guys.